Welcome, I'm Ijoma Onyato. Tonight, the long wait is over as the Senate screens former Governor of Rivers State, Chibuike Amaechi, and 4 others. Senate adjourns till next Tuesday for continuation of ministerial screening. Amaechi says he's never taken a bribe. 5 suspects believed to be behind the bomb blast in Kuje and Nyanya arraigned before a federal high court in Abuja. And an armed masked man kills a pupil and a teacher at a school in Sweden. And on business news tonight, the Nigerian National Petroleum Corporation opened scrutiny on 91 companies vying for contracts to provide coastal bunkering vessel services.
And on sports news tonight, Spanish police investigate unnamed linesman's allegations that Real Madrid want next month's El Clasico officiated in their favor. It's been a long wait coupled with high-wired politics and a lot of behind-the-scene lobbying before the appearance of the candidates for today's screening, particularly the ex-governor of Rivers State, Chibuike Amaechi. 4 others were screened with the former governor, but given the controversy surrounding Mr. Amaechi's nomination, less attention was given to the other 4 candidates. The former governor was top on the list of the order paper released by the Senate. When asked questions regarding his involvement in alleged cases of corruption and misappropriation of public funds, Mr. Amaechi insists he was not indicted by the report of the panel. Our correspondent Linda Akigbe reports.
Ministerial nominee and former Rivers State Governor Rotimi Amaechi makes his way into the Senate chamber.
Taking a bow before the Senate President.
Twice, Mr. Amaechi was scheduled to be screened in this chamber, but the screening did not take place. His nomination and plans for his screening can be likened to a soap opera with complex plots and suspense. So his screening was highly anticipated by many Nigerians.
Power sharing and capital sharing.
Outside the Senate chamber, the National Assembly corridor, which was packed with people minutes before the screening of Mr. Amaechi, was almost deserted. People crammed themselves into any available office with a television to monitor the screening of the former Rivers State governor.
I had the responsibility to exercise my right as a governor.
Back inside the Senate chamber, the screening began.
Under Order 43.
But unexpectedly, the Senate Minority Leader raised a point of order.
The PDP senators and the caucus seated here will not have any question for the nominee because we have just received the report of the public commission bordering on issues on fraud, corruption, and all sorts of things from the Senatorial Committee. And we are yet to look into this. We have not debated that report at all. And so we will have little or nothing to ask the nominee. Is that the decision of the PDP caucus?
The Senate Majority Leader, however, disagreed.
The committee report has been laid by a committee that we assigned to do the job of ethics and privileges. And the procedure is after laying, we will make copies of that report. This is a confirmation hearing. It does not stop the confirmation hearing. But we are glad that you are saying that you are not asking the nominee question. We might as well, as the Speaker and the former governor, ask the nominee, take a bow and go.
Lawmakers from the ruling party then began firing questions at Mr. Amaechi. He was asked to explain an alleged indictment by a judicial commission of inquiry in Rivers State.
There was a panel instituted by the present government of Rivers State. I believe it's a judicial commission. And from what we were reading in the papers, this commission indicted you on corruption, serious corruption allegations.
I repeated that I brought all the copies of the panel. I didn't bring the white paper. All the copies of the panel. I didn't bring the white paper. There is nowhere I was indicted. If the Senate President permits me, I'm ready to lay this on the table so that members can have opportunity of reading it.
More questions followed.
Can you define from your own view what corruption is all about?
Corruption is very difficult to define. If you're a public officer and you don't take bribe, I have never taken bribe in my life.
After fielding questions for 15 minutes, Mr. Amaechi was asked to take a bow and go.
You have it.
He left the chamber, walking straight into the arms of his jubilant supporters outside.
My sister, see the news. The real news.
4 other ministerial nominees were also screened after Mr. Amaechi. 2 of them are former legislators who were asked to take a bow and go.
To ethics and privilege.
The Senate did not confirm the nomination of any of the ministerial nominees screened today, but instead adjourned till next Tuesday, October 27th. Linda Akibe, Channels Television News.
And after screening 5 ministerial nominees, the Senate President, Dr. Bukola Saraki, adjourned sitting to next Tuesday. Other candidates who've been on the waiting list will be returning to the upper house for their own screening exercise on that date.
Consideration of the request of Mr. President, Commander-in-Chief of the Federation, for the confirmation of nominees for appointment as ministers of the Government of the Federal Republic of Nigeria. The following nominees answered questions from distinguished senators on a number of topical national issues and their curriculum vitae: Chibuike Rotimi Amaechi, Yekini Lokobiri, Claudius Omoleye Daramola, Babash Shuri Mustafa, James Ocholi. Is this a true reflection of what transpired in the Committee of the Whole? Further confirmation hearings on the other nominees defer to the next legislative day. The Senate is hereby adjourned to Tuesday, 27th October 2015 at 10 a.m. prompt.
Well, joining me now on the news at 10 to look at today's screening of ministerial nominees is a professor of political science at the National Open University of Nigeria, Professor Kayode Shoremekun. Thanks so much for joining us on the news at 10 tonight.
Thank you very much.
Well, I'm sure even your students, being students of political science, were looking forward to today. With all the build-up and all the wait, did it meet your expectations in terms of what would play out?
Well, talking about expectations, they were not very high in the first instance. And to that extent, in terms of what to expect, I thought that there must have been a subtext to the whole thing. That what we saw was something fairly sanitized, in the sense that a lot of informal discussions must have taken place behind the scenes. And to that extent, what we saw was very smooth, almost too smooth, especially in the case of the former governor, Chief Rotimi Amaechi.
Okay, but were you surprised that the PDP caucus didn't put any questions forward, giving the reason that, the report had just been laid? Did you think that should have played out that way?
Well,
and why?
Well, since they were talking of the report not being laid, my thinking is that they wanted to have more information before launching into questioning. And that is assuming that probably after reading the report, they will then come to question the ministerial nominee. But I take it that what we've seen there is almost like a final show, that after this, he will either be confirmed or, But again, in Nigerian politics, one should not be surprised about anything, because we should not be carried away by these labels, APC, PDP. These are all Abuja people, and they know where they meet. We are talking about a political class. We are talking about what you can call intra-factional consensus, which must have been hammered out outside you and me, outside millions of Nigerians who probably are ensnared or seduced by these cosmetic labels of APC, PDP. And that's normal, because in any political system, there's what you call a political class. That level of consciousness in which, at the right time, at appropriate moments, they will close ranks against you and me.
But you heard Mr. Amaechi today. He said he's never taken a bribe. Did you believe him?
Well, we have to be careful here, because if I don't believe him, I might be engaging in slander.
Yes.
Remember, he's going to be a honorable minister. Honorable. Okay? And then if you come to look at it, in his previous posting, they'll call him His Excellency. Look at those epithets: excellent, honorable, okay? And like Shakespeare said, in his immortal lines, they are all honorable men, and so are they all. So when you say I believe him or not, it doesn't really matter. I want us to more or less give him the benefit of the doubt here. He said he has never taken any bribe. Where is the counter to that? I mean, there's no counter to that. So to that extent, let's believe him. But I'm reminded of an American politician, a former president, who was accused of smoking pot. And you know what he said? He said, okay, he only had the pot in his lips and that he did not inhale. And that became a byword in the American political lexicon, that I did not inhale. So let's say Amaechi too did not inhale.
Okay, well, let's look at some of the other nominees that were screened today. Did it meet your expectations in terms of the line of questioning? Was it rigorous enough, seeing that this time around we were told that it was going to be thorough, questions were going to be put forward? Did you see that today?
I'm sorry, please. I hate to be cynical here. I want to repeat again that I don't have any expectations about Nigerian politicians. My expectations, so to say, they are very low. So whatever I saw there, I just said, well, this is the usual game. I remember a very interesting story, which I want to recall here, about Margaret Thatcher. Margaret Thatcher, she was in her twilight years. She was asked about what she would like to be in the next life. And she said she would like to come back as a Nigerian politician. They said, why? She said, because anything goes. So please, as for me, there are no expectations.
All right, Professor of Political Science at the National Open University of Nigeria. Thanks a lot for joining us with your views on the news at 10 tonight.
Thank you very much.
In part 2, after the break, police set to arraign 5 masterminds of the Nyanya bomb blast. That's in a moment. Do join us again.